What's going on, Jeromes? Happy Tuesday out there, everyone, everywhere. We're back on the live stream, 11 a.m. Central Time, every single weekday except for Friday, which we do at 9 a.m. Central Time. Yeah, what to do. Yeah, I used to say daylight time or standard time, but then I never get it right. I always pick the wrong one because I don't even know what we're on now. So Central Time, 11 a.m., you know what to do. Live chat, rise up. You guys are the best. If you want to support the work, hit that join box, become a monthly or platinum Jerome. Also, producer Allie would kill me if I don't mention this. So purplefdw.com/Amazon. Take it to the Amazon homepage through our link. Bookmark that link every time you buy something on Amazon, which you're doing. You're doing a lot of right now. Use that link. We'll get a little bit of credit. Costs you nothing extra, and you support us by using that link. purplefdw.com/Amazon. So it is my birthday today. Happy birthday to me. Sexy time. I can run for president now. Well, actually, technically I can't because of all the felonies. No, I'm just playing. I wasn't born here, which seems like a silly rule, right? I understand how it was put in place. Like, actually, let's look that up. So make sure we're not like lying and telling stories here. All right, so President Y natural. All right, so natural born citizen clause. So it's Article 2. All right, so yeah, this is OG Constitution, so 1787. So yeah, I do understand why it was originally put in. So it's like, oh, you have to be born in the colonies or formerly of the colonies. You have to be in the original 13 states to be president. But yeah, I get it. Like, you don't want some sleeper agent redcoat coming over, just run for president, using all that charm, and then turning heel like NWO. So yeah, I sort of understand that then, but I mean, I feel like it should be if you've been a citizen for 35 years, that'll work out. Yeah. Not that I'm chomping at the bit to be president. Even though if you look at the two jabronis right now, maybe I wouldn't be a terrible president. I don't know. So happy birthday to me. There you go. Venmo's always open. There you go. So we got questions today. All right. So I asked, what is cake or pie? So it's the struggle and controversy as old as time. If you count cheesecake as, well, cheesecake isn't really cake. Like, I understand it's the name. It's more of a custard. So I don't know how you classify that. It may just be a classification unto itself. And also a pie, do you extrapolate that out? Like, does pizza count as a pie? No. So it's kind of close for me. So there really is not. So I feel a cake is more consistent. Like, cake has a higher floor than pie because there can be some really bad pie. But also, it doesn't have as high of a ceiling as pie. So cake is always going to be relatively steady. You know, cake is cake is cake is cake is cake. Like, think of the best cake you've ever had and like the worst cake you've ever had. Like, that gap is relatively narrow. But think of the best pie you've ever had and the worst pie you've ever had. All right, so that's pretty big gap. So it's more highly variant. So I will take pie because I'm not really that big of a sweets person, but like when you go in, you got to go in. So you get the pie fresh out of the oven. Well, not like fresh out of the oven, but still warm. So like a fresh baked like apple pie, strawberry rhubarb. Well, actually, no, that's a cold pie. Blueberry or peach pie. Woo, son. So, well, with peach, cobbler's better, but that's a whole nother thing. Or like apple crisp. So you take that, and then you have a scoop. I'm talking about like real ice cream. So none of that cheap ass brick, 17 different ingredients. No, milk, cream, sugar, vanilla. Like, that's all that should be in your ice cream. Just like a big old scoop of that right next to that pie. A la mode up in this bitch. Ooh, shit. You never feel that way about cake. You just don't. Like, who like is jonesing for a cake? Like, when a cake is baking, you're just like, oh, I can't wait for that cake. No, it's like, cake is what you get at a birthday party, at a retirement party, at a get together, at a graduation, and it's more like, oh, hey, we need sugar, we need something sweet. There you go. Also, I've gotten to that age where the appeal of coffee with dessert. I understand it now. I do get it. So just something that cuts through that richness. Oh, also if you're an older person and then you got dessert with dinner, you get the decaf. Yeah, so you get the mouthfeel and the flavor of the coffee, but also not the caffeine because you're going to stay up late at night. I haven't gotten to the age where I'm into the half calf coffee. You guys' parents or grandparents ever get into that? Where it's like, what's the point? It's like being half pregnant. Go diesel or go decaf. So there you go. All right. So we got Q&A. We'll fire that up. Oh, did I answer the question? Oh, yeah, pie. But also cheesecake. So whatever cheesecake qualifies as. Yeah. All right, so Chase and Gelke. Dairy Queen ice cream cake takes a prize any day, but a warm, fresh-baked apple pie with vanilla ice cream takes a very close second. Skull. Yes. Also, Thanksgiving. Man, pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie is so freaking good. So pumpkin pie, and there's something about like pumpkin pie is that you don't even want like the real whipped cream. Like you don't want to take the heavy cream with the sugar and just like whip it. No, you want the Cool Whip. Like you want those partially hydrogenated oils all up in that bitch. Like I feel like that it just makes it better. I don't know why. Can't explain it. Stanley Morris. You accidentally skipped this question yesterday, but what was the most embarrassing, awkward thing that you've ever caught doing, confronted about? So it was like in third grade, and do you ever get in winter? So I never have I've never had allergies except I did get hives from eating shrimp one time, but that was a one-off. Long story. So I imagine this is what allergies is like. So it was the middle of winter, really dry out. And I remember as a kid, so third grade, I'd been like 8, right? And I had this really dry throat. And my teacher in third grade was like super mean. Like she was an asshole, right? And I just remember like she was going on about something, and she got very angry whenever anyone like interrupted her, like even inadvertently. So if you coughed, like she would like give you the death stare, like, look at this mother. All right, so I was definitely afraid. It doesn't make sense now, but so I had this cough, right? So I was just trying to suppress it during this entire class, and just like, you ever tried to hold in a cough? Like you're trying to swallow enough spit to try and like coat your trachea. You're just trying to. So I did that successfully for like 20 minutes, and then eventually. Like if you try to hold in a cough for too long, like the tickle will get your gag reflex, and then so I just full on barfed all over my desk, and of course winter, that's flu season. I don't know, maybe I got the Rona back in third grade, but that was so that was embarrassing. Looking back on it, it's not like overly embarrassing. I got to go home, which is kind of sweet because everyone thought that I was dying of like leprosy, but no, I was just holding in. I was just holding a cough because my jerkwad teacher was a dick. I don't like her. All right, so next up, she had a nice family though. Like I was good friends with her daughter. Just weird though. But and outside of school, like she was a completely different person. So I don't know. Yeah. Next up is random Asian gamer pie. Travis, I'll take ice cream cake over any other dessert, but otherwise pie. Feels like me eating pure sugar and icing with most cakes. Yeah, I feel like cake is cake is cake. Should put that on a shirt. Producer Allie, put that on a shirt. Sir Meeps a lot. I'll take cake as long as ice cream cake. Otherwise, give me apple pie. I feel like that's sort of a cop out. So like ice cream. I feel like ice cream cake should be in a separate category. Same thing with cheesecake. It's got cake in the name, but it's not really. I mean, it's solidified ice cream with like some compressed dough in it, some cookies. Everything's good. All right. Next up is White Wolf. I'm just here to say pie. Any fruit with that rhubarb is just fire. I agree. So we grew up. My house, we had a bunch of rhubarb plants that grew in our backyard, and like my grandma would go down there, like her old old German, old world ass would just get down there and just like cut off some rhubarb, make that into like a pie, strawberry rhubarb jam. Shit. I do remember as a kid though. I did take a bite of just like raw rhubarb, and it was just think of like sucking. Do you guys remember Atomic Warheads, the candy? Think of like eating 6 of those at once mixed in with some dirt. That's what biting rhubarb was. And then I found out, all right, so what you do with rhubarb is that rhubarb's kind of like cranberry, where it tastes like ass on its own. The only way it's palatable is if you dump 10 pounds of sugar into it. That's how it rolls. Yeah. Next up, Traveler. Cake is often unfairly limited to celebrations. Canada Jeromes is buy a wedding cake for himself because it tastes good. That said, I like pie. That's true. Man, there's a good meme about cake. I'll try to find it here. Oh, here it is. Oh, it's not the one I want. It's not the one that I want. As an adult, I often forget that I could just get in my car and go buy a cake whenever I want. It is freeing, though. Like, do you ever have memories as a kid? You're like, man, I can't wait to buy as much cake as I want, eat McDonald's wherever I want, stay up as late as I want. And then you get to adult and you realize, no, well, too much cake at McDonald's will kill me. I want to go to bed early. Screw you guys. It's just a raw deal. Yeah, next up. All right. RJ Ante, bad avatar, but won't hold that against you. Do you like the idea of a third wild card? Also, Pie easily wins. I do, because well, I guess that adds one more game, right? Just trying to do the math. Yeah, so adds another game. More football is always better. I think it does give more opportunity, because I feel like if a team gets hot, just sneaks in the playoffs, riding the momentum, I feel like that's really underrated. And whoever gets in as a 7 seed, maybe they will be riding some of that Uncle Mo. Like the Vikings would have made the playoffs in 2018 if this was in place, which would have been funny to me. Yeah, I think it's fine. Also, I do like that there's only now one bye, so teams. It behooves them, it incentivizes them to play competitively all the way throughout, because now they can't just be like, oh, well, we got the 2 locked up, so we'll just pack in our tent. No, you got to go for the 1. Got to be gunning for that number 1 spot. It's a little bit more echoey in here, because, all right, so my daughter had her unicorn sleeping bag. It's like draped over the exercise bike. So now I can hear it's a little bit echoey. It's kind of funny. Husgamer 15. We're going to do a studio office tour. Yes, we'll do that at some point this offseason. Stanley Moros, you should do a video ranking all 32 GMs like you did with all the coaches and quarterbacks. So until then, who's your top 10 GMs right now? It's like John Schneider 1. Actually, no. I'll take that back. I've not agreed with Schneider's last 3 first-round picks. I would say Eric DeCosta 1, Schneider 2, Spielman 3, Dimitrov 4, John Lynch 5. Yeah, respect. Oh man, Chris Ballard 4. Yeah, Chris Ballard 4. Then Dimitrov 5, then John Lynch 6. Jason Licht, maybe 7. I mean, Tampa had a pretty good nucleus before they even got Brady. They had a great defense. Love Levante David. Yeah, so yeah, Jason Licht 7. I think it's pretty tough. Not Gettleman. I guess, could you say Belichick 8? I mean, I think Belichick, the head coach, is unparalleled. Belichick, the GM, there's certainly some questions. But the fact that they can just cycle through, let big name guys go consistently. Like they let Trent Brown go. They let Chandler Jones go. They let Akeem Hicks go. They just still cycle through. I guess you could say Les Snead 9, although I've disagreed with how he's handled the roster as of late. Plus, I didn't agree with the Jalen Ramsey trade. I think they gave up too much, as well as Todd Gurley. That contract was a dumpster fire. So maybe I take him back. I guess I do have to give respect to Mickey Loomis because what was it? The Saints 2017 draft class was amazing. PFR Saints draft history. Yeah, that 2017 class for the Saints was just absolutely just... All right, so Lattimore, stud. Ramchick, stud. The pride of Winona State. Marcus Williams. Still a decent safety. Alvin Kamara, obviously. Alex Anzalone was a decent backup linebacker. He ended up... He's somewhere else now, is he? Is he in Carolina? No, he's still with the Saints. Oh, no, I'm thinking about Klein, who went from Carolina to New Orleans. Yeah. Trey Hendrickson, I believe, was a little something. Trading up for Marcus Davenport. I don't know, man. I don't know. Eric McCoy's a stud, though. I really like him. Eric McCoy is one of the reasons why they're able to completely overhaul that interior offensive line. Anyways. World War II General Vince Vaughn. Carrot cake. I actually made from carrots. It's my birthday week, too, as of Monday. Happy birthday. Yeah, carrot cake and zucchini bread, banana bread, underrated. Might just be a Midwest thing. Next up is Boomatic. If Cook's extension ends up being your proposed terms or very close to, would you demand the Vikings give you credit? Pie. Yes. Yes. I shall demandeth it. And agreed on pie. Eric Hanson. Pie. I love everything from pumpkin pie to chicken pot pie. Also think cheesecake should be called cheese pie. Changed my mind. Well, could you call pizza cheese pie? I feel like that would be if we're going to just rename everything so that it's more literal. Because where did pizza come from besides Italy? But what's the etymology of that name? Wiki. This is going to be good. History. Started out in Italy, and then it took you to Flavor Town. Guy Fieri put half a ham hock on it. All right, so history pizza. It's an antiquity. Sardinia, French archaeologists found baked bread over 7,000 years ago. Da-da, blah, 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 blah. Jesus. Boring. Next up, Jack Thomas Vanasek. What are your thoughts on bar? Cheese cake because pie is hit or miss. Yeah, I agree that pie is hit or miss. Cake is more consistent, but let's ride that train, baby. Let's go full Mackay Becton, Denzel Mims gambling on this bit. Skull from Australia. Skull down under. Love you guys. Thoughts on Barr? I appreciate Anthony Barr. I think he's underrated what he's asked to do by Mike Zimmer. Is he worth the $13 million price tag? Probably not. But also, I think that us Vikings fans don't realize how close to Armageddon it was with Anthony Barr potentially leaving because Eric Wilson is not cut out to be Anthony Barr. They tried that a couple of games in 2017. No, excuse me, 2018, when Barr missed a couple games with injuries. Wilson is not that strong side linebacker. And last year's draft was a 2 linebacker draft. It was Devin White and Devin Bush. Both were out of range for the Vikings. They would have had to trade up and do something. So there wouldn't have been a great 1-to-1 replacement. I mean, they may have just put Gideon out there in Anthony Barr's spot. And you're talking about Anthony Barr, you're complaining about his coverage. Just wait till you see Gideon out there. So, yeah. Next up, Zach Ballas. Do you ever watch a Simple History channel? I think you'd like it. I do not, but I'll put that on the list of things to do. Cake. John Wadra. Cake. Also, fun fact, I caught a pass from Larry Fitzgerald. So was this in like a game situation, or was this just like playing catch on the sidelines? As like Diggs did it all the time, right? Or at like a Fitzgerald camp. Livestream listener watching from, give a couple shout outs. I always love doing that. AJ Barnes, cheesecake, world's best dessert, hands down. When do you think the Vikings will make a free agent signing like Griffin or Klein with this weird offseason going on? I do agree with cheesecake. It's just really good. It's just really, really good. I think they would see a signing like Griffin or Klein at the start of training camp, maybe even halfway through. I think veterans like Everson, maybe not so much Klein, but definitely Everson has earned the right to skip training camp. And, if he comes in, he'll hit the ground running, knows the scheme, he knows the terminology, he'll be perfectly fine. So that's why I could see it. Husgamer 15, are you going to do a Jerome's Fantasy Football League? Yeah, there was a guy who did it last year. Maybe he'll organize it again this year. Otherwise, I'll have producer Allie do something. Or someone volunteer. Someone email producer Allie. We'll get it going. Big Rover. Savory pies like deep dish pizza and chicken pot pie for me. Oh, I forgot chicken pot pie. Yeah. Or I assume if pizza and chicken pot pie count as pie, then like shepherd's pie counts as pie too, even though there's no crust. What's your potato ranking between fries, hash browns, baked potato, mashed potato, potato chips, and potato salad? All right. Hash browns may be one. I don't eat a ton of potatoes anymore, but hash browns would be one. There's just something about like the shredded, crispy hash browns with breakfast. I mean, come on, player. I feel like mashed potatoes are sort of effed out. Although, like really good, like loaded mashed potatoes. So how I make mashed potatoes. So you get half yellow potatoes, you get half red skin potatoes, and then you boil them together. Actually, you throw a couple of carrots in too, just for color and flavor and texture. Leave the skins on, and then you just boil the crap out of them until they're mashable. Mash them up. Sour cream, obviously salt and pepper. A little bit of garlic powder. Garlic powder, not the salt, so you can control. Also, I feel like garlic salt, like it always tastes like chemically altered. So just garlic powder and then put in kosher salt. It's much better. A little bit of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. Throw some bacon in there. Throw some scallions in there. Some diced green onions. Baby, you got a stew going. All right. And if you do that, you can put in a twice baked potato. That's phenomenal as well. So, hash browns, chips, fries, baked potato, mashed potato, potato salad. Even though I do like potato salad, I just haven't had the time to make it. All right, and store bought is whatever. A couple shout outs. My grandma made the best potato salad, and I can never quite figure it out. Like I've been able to reverse engineer quite a bit, but just like the texture of the potatoes and like the ratio of mayo and mustard is I can't get it. A couple shout outs. Let's hear. Jabrisky, shout out Trempolo. What is up? Other side of the river. Sir Meeps a lot. Skull from 15-year-old in Long Island, New York. Seems like a trap. That's like Chris Hansen. Why don't you take a seat over there? Husgamer 15, Skull from Fridley. Shout out Northern Burbs. Tobe Cologne, Skull from a 15-year-old in Germany. Our main demographic is drunk teenagers. We're just really good there. Purple Rain, Skull from Wausau, Wisconsin. Preacher Paul, hauling it for all of y'all. Skull from Black River Falls, Wisconsin. Devin A. Toft, Skull from Santa Monica. Gorgeous. That's where Whitey Bulger was hiding out, just in plain sight. Bryce Ketterling, Skull from Big Sky Country. What up, Montana? Nick Doroff, Skull from the mean streets of Westbrook, Maine. Talk about there's a great SNL sketch with Justin Timberlake, and I think Jamie Foxx is in one of them too. It's Maine Justice, and what happened is like this entire like I do like Maine, like, and not just because of Stephen King. Like Maine's a good state. Just get the F out of Dodge. Like, if you want the woods, but also you want some of the ocean. Yeah, there you go. So Maine Justice. Yeah, Jason Sudeikis is super underrated. I just don't know why. So go look that up. I mean, Maine Justice. There's one with Jamie Foxx. There's one with Timberlake. I think Charlie Day's in one of them. It's really good. It's probably one of my favorite SNL sketches. It's up there. Oh, it's up there with the wrestling promo with Bobby Moynihan and The Rock. A couple more shouts. Rayshawn Ivory, Skull from St. Paul, Minnesota. Nothing better than sex cake. It's amazing. Oh, better than sex cake. I get you. I thought you were just talking about sex cake in general. I'm like, what is this? Again, that's a trap. What up, Rayshawn? Loyal daily viewer. Haimo Kayukin. I'm going to get this. Haimo Kaukanen. I think I got it. Skull from Helsinki. I love IKEA, by the way. Wait, no, that's Helsinki's Finland. Sorry, it's my bad. Eric Hansen, Squirrel from rural Minnesota, greater Minnesota, by the way. Damn straight. And then we're talking about potato salad. All right, you guys are the best. Thank you very much for coming along during this weird off season, as we're just trucking. Yeah. The Reeftard. Is there a chance of us testing out how good Justin Jefferson is on the outside, or just kick out Thielen and have him play slot? Also, why can't I have cake and pie? That's a good question. You can, because this is America, damn it. We can have cake and pie on top of pie with a firework with the M80 jammed in there, unless you're in Minnesota, which means you have to go to South Dakota or North Dakota or Wisconsin or Iowa to get the good shit. Yeah. Since we're talking about the Constitution, it did bug me that, well, as a kid, it bugged me more that we would have to, go across state lines to actually get good firecrackers. Otherwise, we have sparklers and firecrackers. Wait, can you even get firecrackers in Minnesota? Crag-ass cracker? Doesn't matter. But as I've gotten older, the allure of fireworks has definitely wore off, because now it's just like, oh, we are literally lighting money on fire. And all this money is going to Chinese corporations that produce fireworks. So that's just great. Yeah. God, what are we talking about? Oh, Justin Jefferson on that side. I think he will be on the outside, since the Vikings will run a lot of two wide receiver sets. They won't always be twinned up on the other side. So sometimes they'll just run standard X and Z. I think Jefferson will be a fine Z, so he will have to deal with outside pressure. But we'll see. I think that he's up for the challenge. Luke Kolstad. I would have to go with a nice dense cake. That's something that isn't too light, and the perfect amount of moist is just perfect. Are we still talking about cake? You got different frostings, cream cheese is goat with some combinations. Plus, you can stack layers. Homemade cakes are great. What are your top 5 favorite restaurants in Minnesota that people should try? All right, so tackle that one first. Yeah, I will say, if cake is almost like a ganache, then I'm in. Also, yeah, cream cheese frosting. Usually what you get, well, fancier cakes will get fondant, which tastes like garbage. I don't know why people use it, except for just the looks. Buttercream frosting is good, but cream cheese, ooh, baby. All right, top 5 favorite restaurants in Minnesota. All right, so there is Hoban, which is a Korean joint in Eagan that's really phenomenal. I will say, obviously, the Blue Door, near and dear to my heart. Love those guys. Wing Joint, I believe, is in Blaine, Northern Burbs. Check them out. Let's see. What is the barbecue place in Champlin? I always forget that. Champlin BBQ. Yeah, Q Fanatic. It's phenomenal. Go check that one out. Is this specifically Twin Cities? Oh, in Minnesota. Oh, there we go, Minnesota. See what else here. God, there's this really good noodle place. I forget where it was. Oh, no, it's in downtown Minneapolis. Minneapolis. It's in the Dead End Street. I don't remember names. I just remember locations. Oh, also Revival. Revival is probably the best fried chicken I've ever had. No. Oh, there it is. So Futau Bay. Check that out. It's in Uptown, just west of 35. Although, you know. Yeah, because it's at the end of a dead end street. Actually, wait, is this where the Kmart used to be? Or if only I was a professional. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Fotao Bay, phenomenal. Cameron Bay in Burnsville is really good too. It just basically just find any hole in the wall, like family-owned Asian place, specifically Vietnamese as well. It's gonna be really, really good. See what else. Manny's. There's a debate like what's better? What's a better steakhouse, Manny's or Murray's? I was like, I give the slight edge to Manny's mainly because I've been there more. So Manny's. Oh, the Nook and Shamrock in St. Paul is really phenomenal as well. Plus, if you're into like Minnesota, like local Minnesota sports, so they have like burgers for Creependom Hall guys. So they got Molitor and Matt Burke and Maurer and Michael Floyd, and I'm sure Jake Lacine will have a burger there too. That's good. Yeah. All right, next up is Tory Hanson. Oh, so the rest of Minnesota. It's hard to say because a lot of restaurants are now closed, which really, really sucks. But I will say, Gastoff's also, it's in Northeast, I believe. It's a German restaurant. It's really good. In Rochester, there's all right, so in Rochester, there's like the strip mall restaurant called Beatles. It's on 2nd Street. It's just west of St. Mary's Hospital. It's really good. Like it's this great local joint. Everything is homemade, and so if you get like a club sandwich, it's usually just deli turkey. They just come in and roast turkeys all the time. Just really, it's like a good like neighborhood bar, and that serves phenomenal food. So I'm always down for places like that. Also, Whistle Binkies in Rochester is really good. John Hardy's Barbecue in Rochester is really good. Wong's Cafe used to be really good when they were downtown, and then they moved, which is unfortunate. So, yeah. Tory Hanson. If you had to make a guess, how much do you think Brian O'Neill is going to make his next contract? And cake is better than pie always. How dare you? And a lot. Like, if he has another year like he's projected to be, like say that he's a lot like Ryan Ramczyk last year. Ramczyk really exploded in year 3, which I think Brian O'Neill is going to. We're talking like top tier money. Like we're talking almost left tackle money. We're talking $15-16 million per year at least. KCU. Definitely pie unless it's ice cream cake. Any current yeah, I agree. Any current NFL players you could see eventually becoming head coaches when they're done playing. Skull from Fargo. Skull from technically Western Minnesota. There we go. Well, a lot of head coaches were just like backup quarterbacks who didn't have all the physical skills or tools. They had to learn the finer points of the position, and they just became teachers. So I always thought that Trevor Siemian would make a good coach, and I wouldn't be shocked if he got into coaching. Like he's, despite his limitations, I always thought that he was a very smart, cerebral player. Very good at talking out ideas. I think he'd be a good teacher. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Siemian eventually becomes a quarterback's coach and then OC and then maybe a head coach. Other than that, I think Kendricks would be a really good head coach. I do. Kendricks. See who else around the league. Oh, Luke Kuechly. I know he's getting into the scouting side. Maybe with eyes of being a GM eventually. But if you ever want to get into coaching, I feel like Kuechly would be great. Let's see who else. Ed Reed would be good. Ed Reed would be really, really good. I'm just thinking about like guys. I think Ryan Clark. Because it's one thing to have the knowledge of football, but be able to explain it and teach and have the patience to do that. I think that's rare. That's why I feel like the best coaches are the best teachers, if that makes sense. All right, next up, Traveler. Let's see here. Do you have any regular commenters that is especially astute in their analysis feedback on your videos, or a specific time someone completely changed your thinking on a subject? Yeah, I mean, we got tons of regular commenters that are great. You're very well educated, very well versed, very well spoken. Always love that about the Jerome community. Specific time someone completely changed your thinking on a subject? No? Well, I guess maybe getting new information on Jake Browning from people that I really respect changed my mind on that. Or it's just the prospect of Sean Mannion and Nate Stanley. Could be it too. Ba what to ba. If you experience one thing for the first time, again, what would it be? Well, besides the obvious. I would say maybe like besides the obvious, the first time eating like really really good sushi. So there was the sushi bar in Vegas. Was it Yellowtail? Yeah, anyways, it was one of the the higher end sushi restaurants in Vegas, and I just remember because I didn't eat Asian food at all until I got to college. I was basically raised like a white boy. But then my experience with like sushi was like the $20 all I can eat for lunch sushi, like that whole mass produced, very Americanized version of it. But yeah, I just remember going to sitting at the sushi bar. And I was with a bunch of associates who were much more worldly than I was, because I was like, how old? Maybe 22. I want to say, I think it was my third trip, second or third trip out to Vegas, and I just remember sitting down, and we're sitting at the bar, and it wasn't like, hey, we want A1 and B2 and C2, and we want the dragon roll, we want the sexy girl roll. No, it was this was a sushi chef who had trained his entire life. Came over from literally Tokyo or Nagasaki or wherever, and his knife cost more than my car at the time, and we were just like, hey, go. We respect your artistry, we respect your craft, just fill us up and charge us whatever. And it was eye-opening. So the entire thing of that was the first time I believe I ever ate eel, and just like all of these cuts of sushi and sashimi and nigiri and things that were just perfectly seasoned. We Americans, we just take the sushi and we just drown it in soy sauce, and we're just like that whole thing. And like we you have to put the wasabi on there, the neon green wasabi, and then sometimes we use like the pickled ginger, not as the palate cleanser, but as an actual like accent. We need some more acid on this piece of sushi. So yeah, I think that experiencing that for the first time, and then just realizing, oh, there's a different league. Like I was dicking around in like independent league baseball sushi. There's a major league, and from that point, I just saving up, splurging on really good sushi from people who really know what they're doing. Yeah, just changed my worldview. Absolutely. Next up. Good question, though. I like that one. David Bryant. What is your favorite type of fish? Also, have you ever had catfish? And pie takes the cake, pun intended. Catfish is great. Like fried catfish is just really good. I think it's really underrated. Yeah, it's just like a nice firm whitefish. I think it gets a little bit of a bad rap just because people, it's a bottom feeder, how can it be good? Because it's good, that's why. Maybe it tastes slightly more fishy than people like. Favorite type of fish, so just fish in general. So I guess like locally, obviously Minnesota, we love the walleye. Actually, I like pike more than most people do. They are a pain in the ass to clean. Also, getting out of those Y bones. I really like panfish, like sunfish, perch. Trout, obviously. Also, I know a lot of people don't eat smallmouth bass. I love it. Like, I understand, like, you don't necessarily get as much bang for your buck. The fillets are kind of small, but it is solid eating fish. Like, if I took a fillet of pike and a fillet of smallmouth bass, cut it the same size, prepared it the same way, I don't know if you could tell the difference. I just really don't. Yeah. But larger fish, Chilean sea bass is great. Salmon's great. Like actual salmon, not like farm raised, dyed pink salmon. I mean, can't go wrong with the yellowfin tuna. Halibut, of course. Skate. I feel like skate's really underrated. Yeah. So that's that. Shellfish. I may have to think on that one. It's a longer list. Garrett George. When will Zimmer Cousins win a Super Bowl? This year. Well, not this calendar year, 2021. French silk pie for the win. Yeah, I feel like that shouldn't count as a pie. Like, that's almost like French silk pie almost is into the cheesecake territory, or like pudding pie, which, yeah. Cody and Sosa, what got you into doing podcasts on YouTube? I'm a cake person, but I do love apple and pecan pie. I forgot about pecan pie. Or pecan pie, when done right, it's basically just corn syrup with some nuts on top. That's all it is. Oh, man. I don't know. Well, we started doing podcasts week 14 of the 2013 season. Wound up complaining about Leslie Frazier in that Blizzard game, yada, yada. And YouTube, I don't know, just people started watching. Like, if you go back, like, some of the old videos are just me on my iPhone. I think it was an iPhone 4. Might have been a 5. Yeah, but now, production value. Lord Thick Chunka. Have you tried to watch BoJack Horseman on Netflix? It's a good look at life. Cake. I watched the first season. I don't know, like, it never really grabbed me like, say, Rick and Morty. But yeah, I do have respect for the show. I know a lot of people like it. Kobe the GOAT. Is there a chance that the Vikings could trade Cook for like a number 5 pick or like a number 15 pick? Pie. I think you might be hard pressed getting a first round pick just because of it being a running back, and also you'd have to the team trading for Dalvin would have to sign him too, so that's working against them. Nick Doroff. I'll go with Pa. Since Sunday Night Football does the player intros where they say their names and colleges, would you go traditional route, and say your name in college, or would you just be like Jared Allen and say Culinary Academy or something completely random? Probably something random. I do like when the players say their high school, though. Maybe I'll say elementary school. Or, Coach, School of Hard Knocks. Preach Paul, hauling it for all of y'all. Definitely pie. I'm curious if they actually get to play football, how are you going to stay 6 feet apart? Just cover like Xavier Rhodes last year. Rubber gloves and flag football, just being funny, but seriously, how are your thoughts, Andy? Love the show, and I got my Green Bay Cheers mug for Father's Day. Love it. Awesome. It's awesome, man. I don't know. Because you see the reports, like, X number of players at this college tested positive. 2 players at the Steelers tested positive, yada, yada. I haven't done enough research, so I can't speak from an informed POV. But is COVID like chickenpox, where you can't necessarily get it twice? If that's the case, having all these infections now, is that necessarily the worst thing in the world? And I get it. Like, players, when they're effective, they test positive. They could potentially spread it to vulnerable loved ones. I get it. I understand that. Also, coaches, trainers, support staff, executives tend to be older, so definitely more at risk. I don't know, but somehow it'll work out. But also, so I understand, like, the headlines you see is like, oh, record number of positive cases. Well, all positive cases aren't the same. Like, you need to be informed by number of total tested cases. What's the positive percentage? How many people are walking around not tested but have it or have had it and have the antibodies? Like, how close are we to actually having herd immunity? Also, like, what percentage of positive tests result in hospitalizations? What percentage of positive tests result in death? Like, those are all important numbers, but the only numbers that the media is cramming down your throat is number of positive cases, which, still is imperfect. But yeah, I think that there will be football. Specifically, there will be college football because those schools do not want to lose out on that money because they're a bunch of greedy bastards. Long meat. We have a Super Bowl right now. If we sign Teddy for cheap at the end of the 2017 season, it's Kirk, and no one can tell me otherwise. I agree. Vikings won the Super Bowl last year with Teddy. I really hope Teddy just blows the doors off the roof with the Panthers. I think he has a chance. Joe Brady is a genius. He's got a pretty solid support staff around him. I'm in. Traveler, you've discussed possible 53-man rooster cuts, but go on a limb and make one shocking cut the Vikings might make this year. If you're right, I'll shotgun a 4 Loco. See, bold. I feel like Riley Reef isn't even that bold of a prediction. Kyle Rudolph would be a bold one, although I don't know his dead cap number off the top of my head. I think it's pretty stout, so they probably won't do that. Although it may come to a spot where they approach Kyle Rudolph, like, hey, we need you to take a pay cut. He's like, no. They're like, all right, deuces. Yeah, I'll say Riley Reef. I feel like that's relatively shocking. Skull Vikes. Depends on the cake or pie. Pumpkin pie and ice cream cake. What's the biggest reason for Newton still not being signed? Would he accept a backup role? Actually, I think it's in Cam's best interest to just sort of wait and hover. So he missed the boat in the first round of musical chairs. That's fine. He's not going to find starter level money out there, which is fine. I think what you will see is that if there's an alien abduction of a team starting quarterback, or if there's a Rona situation, if there's a quarantine involved, all of a sudden Cam comes in and he's the man. He's the man. He's the man. He's the man. Like, imagine. So I don't want to put that evil on anyone, Ricky Bobby, but say you're that's a bad example. All right. Seahawks are going to be contending this year. Say Russ gets the Rona, or again, God forbid, Russ is abducted by aliens. See, the backup quarterback right now, who is their backup? Geno Smith. Yeah, good luck with that. Geno Smith and local boy Anthony Gordon. Okay. So obviously that's not going to work. So I could see a spot like that where, say, Russ is abducted by aliens, and then Cam just goes to John Schneider's like, hey, I got the leverage now, baby. You want me? It's going to cost the Chief at least $15 million. Let's go. And then, yeah, so I think Cam is just playing the statistical likelihood that a job will open up, and I think he'll take it. Yeah. AJ Barnes. How good is Troy Dye going to be? He's going to be phenomenal. I feel like he will steal Eric Wilson's spot next year. Also love your channel, Andy. Your videos have got me through many rough 12-hour shifts at the Amazon warehouse I work at, as well as keeping my mind distracted from thinking about COVID that possibly be on the packages I handle there. Well, apparently you can't be spread on surfaces or something. I don't even know what to believe anymore. Like, all the experts say different things depending on the day. Yeah, like that stupid Fauci. You don't need a mask. They're actually pretty ineffective. Just kidding. Now I need a mask. Also, my Fauci sounds a lot like Bill Simmons. And also sounds a lot like Cartman. They're the same person. Change my mind. AJ, thank you very much for doing the work you do, man. Yeah, people don't realize. You bitch and complain about Amazon Prime. It's like, oh, I can't get this overnight. There's a lot of work that goes into that. Like the whole logistical system, like spoiled, privileged, all that stuff. I fully recognize it. Yeah. Troy Dye, I think he will replace Eric Wilson next year because the Vikings just don't sign backup linebackers to second contracts. They just don't do it. So, yeah, I think he'll take over that weak side linebacker spot starting on paper. I think he eventually could take over that Jaron Kearse big nickel role because he's basically a safety. He's super great in coverage, physical freak. It probably would have been drafted higher if he didn't have those injury concerns, but dude's a stud, dude's a leader. I think he was a 4-year starter at Oregon. Yeah, he's great. Love him. Jason Ernstead. Pie, also, if and when the Vikings pay Cook, would there still be enough cap space to potentially trade for Thuney? Would have to trade Reed for Elfline. If they extended Thuney long term, I think they can make it work because they can't straight up trade for Thuney because then you'd have two players on franchise tag, so you'd either have to extend Thuney or Harris, which in itself, Thuney making 14.7, Harris making 11 point some and change against the cap, fully guaranteed. Yeah, they could shift that out. Sir Meeps a lot. If we miss the playoffs this year, which I don't have us making them, is Kirk Cousins gone via trade for a late round pick, pretty much a cap dump, a draft a quarterback first round, or sign free agency? Well, the Vikings could get out from Cousins' contract. I believe I think it's $41 million dead total. They can make him a post June 1st cut, so $31 million dead in 2021, $10 million dead in 2022. That's a prorated signing bonus, which would be fine. I mean, if your quarterback's on a rookie deal anyway, it counts the same. But also, I could see the Vikings just keeping Cousins for at least one more year, still drafting a first-round quarterback, and then you have a Alex Smith, Pat Mahomes type situation, which I'd be fine with. Sure. Next up, Jack, how can we afford Joe Thuney? By believing. Stanley Morris. This is a loaded question. Both pie and cake are completely different things, but both amazing in their own right. It's like comparing Diggs and Jefferson on just talent and gameplay because the differences between cake and marginal are marginal. Spice cake. Spice cake is good. I will give you that. Also, you know, all right, so it sounds really stupid. So when I first met the wife, we went to a family gathering, and it was like her grandpa's 90th birthday, right? So to do something special, we baked him a sour cream and raisin pie, which I had never heard of before in my life. This is an old dude. He was born during the Depression, very grizzled, super cool guy. Sucked at cribbage. I beat his ass. That's right. But yeah, we made this, and it was completely foreign. Apparently, it was very popular back in the day. But yeah, he liked it. And actually, I do like it now, too. So sometimes, you'll never see this commercially. You'll never see it as a Baker Square or, at a bakery. But maybe once every year, once every other year, we'll make a sour cream and raisin pie. And it's good. Don't knock it till you try it. All right, next up. Sir Meeps a lot. My dream cake is Brett Grimes' birthday cake. Looks great. Is this something about Miko? Is this some sort of code? All right, so he actually did have a birthday cake. Oh, wait, never mind. Yeah, I see it up in the corner. I get it. I understand it. Oh, wait. We're going to get kicked off of YouTube for pornography now. It's understandable. Yeah. Okay. Miko Rums. So, Brett Grimes, I don't even know if he's still in the league, but yeah, a couple years ago, Miko Grimes was going hard in the paint on social media. I mean, there's a lot of questions of why Brett would stay with someone who's absolutely bat bleep insane, but anyone who's ever dated or been married to someone who's insane, you understand the trade-offs. You fully understand and fully get my gist. You understand that crazy, let's just say there's trade-offs. Right, so I'm sure Brett Grimes is a very happy man, despite putting up a craziness. All right, next up, what we got? All right, Serum. Gamer 15. Is Minnesota the most suffered state in terms of sports? I'd say yes, mainly because we actually do care about sports. Arizona does not. And they're the other state with the four major sports that has had the longest champion drought or something like that. Sir Meeps a lot. I know chances are we extend Cook, but we should make it so this year is fully guaranteed. Next year is low dead money. Yeah, I agree. Trey, cake has to be. Vikings' next coach should be offensive minded like Eric Bieniemy. I would take him. I mean, Eric Bieniemy, he was a running backs coach. I believe he was Adrian's first running backs coach here in Minnesota, and he was like one of the few guys who could actually get through to Adrian, because I think Adrian, respected him, maybe saw Bieniemy as a father figure. But yeah, I think Bieniemy, I think it's a damn shame that he's been passed over so many times. But also, the last time we hired an Andy Reid non-play calling offensive coordinator, it bit us in the ass. So, I don't know. So it meeps a lot. Can you look at the 2021 free agent class? Tell me who's the greatest class of all time. Don't have that time right now. Pulford Skull, pecan pie, baby. Woo! Would you rather trade for Thuney or Jamal Adams and give up draft capital, or you can sign Cam Newton and Josh Gordon from free agency one time? Well, Thuney and Adams, that's like you're going to have to give up a 1, 2, 3, and probably a future 1. So pass on that. I'll just sign Cam and Josh Gordon. And throw in Martavis Bryant there. Why not? John Wardrop, who is better, Drew Brees or Peyton Manning? Peyton Manning. Zach Hazlius, pah. What qualifies a player as a Jerome? If you're good. And is very subjective. And sometimes you lose your Jerome status. It's like if you have a Michelin star, sometimes you lose it. Just like sometimes Kirk Cousins is just Kirk friggin' Cousins. Sometimes he's Kirk Jerome Cousins. How many Jeromes are on the Vikings? Vacillates, probably about a dozen, given time. Thomas Miles Jr., once a year I enjoy mincemeat pie, which actually isn't meat, right? It's just like a bunch of fruit. Otherwise, I prefer salty snacks. Have you ever been to Jake's Pizza in Albert Lee? I admit I've taken road trips to Albert Lee just for the pizza. I have not. I know that. So the wife is from Austin. We've gone to Steve's Pizza, which is really good in Austin. I have not gotten over to Albert Lee, though. Luke McCaffrey, fan 12. How much should the Cowboys pay Dak if they do extend him? Cake. I would draw the line at 35. Take it or leave it. 4 years, take it or leave it at 35. Sir Meeps a lot. All right, 12 picks next year, including a real trade, maybe Harrison. Yeah. Okay, if you go to Twitter, search down for rumors, Jamal Adams, Vikings rumors, talking Jessica Harris, Harris too. Do you think we try again, Anthony Harris 2 and 3? It'd be perfect. I don't know. Kyle Ribbentrop, pie, specifically coconut cream, was the worst NFL or college stadium ever. Metrodome was pretty bad, except it was like R dump. I would say that soccer stadium that the Chargers played in for a hot second was bad. Candlestick was pretty bad from Lions for football and baseball. It was just bad all the way around. Yeah. Next up is Mo Abdul Pie, especially Key Lime. Also Chad Graff, our Vikings linebackers are the team's biggest strength. Agree? No? Okay, maybe. A pie is not even debate. Biggest mismatch is the Vikings O-line, 49ers D-line is this past year's playoffs. Who is the most memeable Vikings player besides Kirk? I think Michael Pierce is going to be up there. Michael Pierce definitely has some Spice Adams vibes to him. I think fans are really going to like him. Like some Spice Adams, B-Rob vibes. Yeah. Who's winning a fight, Iron Man or Batman? I would say Iron Man, because Tony Stark literally produces war weapons. I mean, Batman's got his arsenal, but Iron Man could take down most civilized countries with his arsenal. He could. Sir Meepslot, just out of curiosity, how much you get paid for an average video? That's proprietary. Tobe Cologne, King and Pie both suck. You suck. Would you prefer Lamb or Judy if they would have been available instead of Jefferson 22? That we pick one of them instead. I would take Judy. I would have been so on Lamb. Like I was not down at all for trading up for him. A lot of people were, but man. Oakview, can we just take a moment, taking the fact that Adam Jerome Thielen is what a Minnesotan is, was at the bottom and nearly had to let go for a normal job. Yeah, he's going to be a dental sales guy. Great. Hi, I'm Adam Thielen. You may know me from starring at Mankato State University Community College Mavericks. Now, I would like to sell you on this new tooth technology. It's great. But worked his way up, born and raised in Minnesota, is now one of the best receivers in the NFL from being a UDFA tryout with a family, a true Minnesota story. Also, not to mention, His idol was Moss, and then breaks his records. Cake for sure. Yeah, the Adam Thielen movie would be good. Who's going to play him, though, besides every Minnesotan? We talked about this before, didn't we? Chris Evans beard. I think Chris Evans could do it. Chris Evans, Captain America. Put a backwards cap on him. He's Adam Thielen. How tall is Chris Evans? Actually, height doesn't really matter because Mark Wahlberg played Vince. Well, he's 6 foot. That's fine. Mark Wahlberg played Vince Papale, and Vince Papale is like 6'4". Wahlberg is like 5'4". Actually, you know what threw me off? So the movie Lone Survivor, great story about Marcus Luttrell. So Marcus Luttrell is like 6'4", 6'5", and he's from Texas. He has a very thick Texas accent. Mark Wahlberg is, again, he's like the size of a dude from AC/DC. He's like 4'11", and he talked like Mark Wahlberg. Like, he didn't even take up the Texas twang. Like, has Mark Wahlberg ever done an accent in any of his movies besides a Boston accent? Where like he really laid into the Boston accent when he played Dignam in The Departed. That's about it. That bugged me. It was a good movie though, even though Luttrell didn't flatline on the way back. Nah. All right, so that's it. That's the live stream for Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for coming along. Thank you for making this a great birthday. So here, if you want to support the work, hit that join box. Amazon, shop at our link. Also, the Venmo is always open. You guys are the best. See you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Time. Skull, production value.